All right, so here we go. This will be pretty close to the last thing. We might touch up on some of the other lectures, but we'll cover most of reproduction here, and we'll talk about your final exam. Now, you do have two or three PowerPoint presentations on your blackboard about reproduction. You should use those as references regardless. We're going to hit some high points here and talk about some things that are going to be important for your final exam. Censored by YouTube. Sex. So what's the deal? Well, sexual reproduction differs from other forms of reproduction. So, obviously, well, what's the goal? The goal is to have more generations, right? You're not immortal, so the goal is to pass on your traits to successive generations. Now, if you were a bacterial cell, this would be a whole lot easier, because bacteria and other single-celled organisms reproduce asexually. Asexual reproduction has one huge benefit. Sexual reproduction, you pass on 100% of you. Asexual reproduction would be cloning. It's the cell splitting into two identical cells. Great, because now, in essence, you are a moon. Because your offspring are identical to you. They're genetically the same. There's a giant cost to that as well. I'm sure you've done this in microbiology, where you have antibiotic discs that you drop into your bacterial colony, and it wipes them out because they're all genetically identical and thus all susceptible to the same selection. So, the big benefit of sexual reproduction is that your offspring are different than you. The big benefit of sex is genetic variation. Your offspring are different than you. Now, the cost of that is you only get to pass on half of your genes. The benefit, your offspring might be better suited to survive selection pressures. So where do we find genetic variation? Well, the first place we're going to find genetic variation is something called crossing over and meiosis. That's an important word, and we will talk about that momentarily. The next place we're going to find genetic variation, something called random assortment. We'll talk about that momentarily. Have random mating. Now that is not what it sounds like. Random mating only says, or the idea of random mating is that the person that is your mate is not your sister. They're not a close relative. It's bringing an outside gene. The last part is The oocyte that's ovulated, it's random. One is ovulated. And the sperm cell that ends up fertilizing that oocyte, also random. All right. So these are our sources of information. Mention the word here. That word is meiosis. Meiosis is gamete production. And the gametes are, of course, your sex cells. Either the sperm cell or the oocyte. Now, how are they different than regular cells? How many chromosomes do your normal cells have? Your normal cells have 46 chromosomes. That is 23 pairs. Normal cells, or somatic cells, are called diploid cells. Diploid meaning they have pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs. Now the sex cells are what we call haploid cells. They have 1/2 the number of chromosomes. They have 23 chromosomes. Now that with a sperm cell carrying 23 chromosomes fertilizes an egg cell carrying 23 chromosomes, then you have 46 chromosomes and a new organism. Meiosis is how these haploid cells are produced. They are going to start a stem cell that has 46 chromosomes. So we'll have 46 chromosomes there. Now the first thing that's going to happen is going to ready to make. And so the first thing it's going to do, as we talked about when we talked about the cell cycle, is make copies of all those chromosomes. And we've got 92 chromosomes. And it's going to split. So 46 here. Then these are going to split. So you get 23, 23, 23, 20. So now we started with one cell, and we have 4 haploid cells down here at the bottom, half the number of chromosomes. Now, one of the things that happens here is that those chromosomes get rearranged. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so here's your cell. And we have 1 pair of chromosomes. So 1 chromosome from your mom, 1 chromosome from your dad. During this, okay, sorry, here, meiosis 1, meiosis. So what's going to happen here is that we have to split here. 1, right? We have to have the number of chromosomes. But this is not an equal split. It's not as if what we get is split here, like the blue one would go here and the red one would go here. No, that's not how that works. Instead, these chromosomes cross over each other. And then split. But what we get here is a mix. Now we have a new combination. And this happens again here. And we get crossover. But regardless, we're getting this split. So when this happens, it's not like we split those chromosomes in the middle. They mix and match with each other. Much better illustration in those PowerPoint presentations on male and female reproduction. But this is one major source of genetic variation, crossing over during meiosis. So, big picture idea, meiosis gives you unique haploid cells. Each one is different than the other. They are all unique. There's an infinite number of ways that crossing over can happen and recombination of genetic material there. All right, random assortment is part of that too. Random assortment just means that there's no plan as to which daughter cell gets which recombination of the chromosomes. Anyway, so genetic variation here in meiosis. As opposed to mitosis, gives you identical cell. Meiosis is reproduction, mitosis is growth and reproduction. So I need you to go back and look at your reproduction slides, male, female reproduction. There are some things in particular that you need to know here because of with endocrinology. Um, so a preview here for the final. I'm not going to go through and do like an in-depth final review. I will very quickly go over the male and female reproductive slideshows. We're not going to worry about pregnancy and development. So no developmental stuff. Look for the quick male-female reproduction things in terms of the cycle. Really what I'm going to be concerned with there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with any of the other stuff so much as I am oogenesis, the ovarian, and uterine cycles, and spermatogenesis. those will be our important topics, I suppose, to a lesser degree. We'll wrap this up. So, logistics here for your file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post your final exam day. I believe that's the 3rd. Yep. And it's going to go down Friday, 8, 11, 9 p.m. So I'm going to give you nearly all of next week to do it. I'll leave it wide open. You won't be able to repeat it, of course, but that will give you that. If you have any questions, let me know. I won't be able to extend the time here because I have to have my grades turned in shortly thereafter. So I need you to get this done. If you're missing grades, make sure that you let me know so that I can go back and see if we can help you out. Unlike the last lab, there will be a lab part to this lab, so look for lab video here on YouTube. Your lab exam, I'll go over some models and stuff in some YouTube videos in just a bit. Also going to be limited. The last day, I basically grabbed all the models I could, threw them in the back of the car, and I haven't been back. So make sure you check the lab videos. The lab portion of your final will just be matching, and we'll be using the pictures of those models and matching on Blackboard. If you're missing anything, if you need anything, let me know so we can get this straightened out. I want to thank you for your patience at the end of this. It's a whole learning experience for all of us here. It's obviously my first online stuff. I'm still learning. Hopefully, in this little break we'll get, I'll be able to do some upgrading so that my videos look better. Not that it makes any difference to you. But really, thank you for your patience with all of this. Hopefully it finds you well and you're doing okay. Everything's going great. Usually in this part of the semester, especially in AMP2, I'd leave things open for question. We just have a lot of questions and answers here at the end about stuff we didn't learn. It's always a good time because this is the portion of the class where a friend has this rash question. It's funny every time. We know you don't have a friend, and it's syphilis. But we don't get that this time, and I'm fairly sure that this time I know what all your questions would be about. And I'm epidemiology. So I guess this is it. I'll have male and female reproduction. Excuse me, shorter version coming up. Um, let's see. I think I will tell you. Um, the first one, I suppose. Um, so this is Uh, Obviously, don't drink disinfectant. It's poison. Some light therapy that's going to help you. You can't get that happening. Um, Pay attention to physicians and scientists that are well trained and have spent years learning about viruses. And less attention to the friend that you know on Facebook or, the president. Listen to the people that know what they're talking about. I wish you the best of luck on this. The final should not be difficult. You're going to do okay. In your future careers, stay safe and have a good summer break. Again, thank you so much for your patience throughout this. If there's anything I can do to help you out, just drop me an email.